Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going deep, really deep into the Starry Night.
Oh, yeah, Van Gogh.
Vincent van Gogh, one of the, I think you could safely say, most iconic images in Western art.
I think so, yeah.
You know, that just swirling, vibrant night sky. You see it, you know exactly what it is.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the kind of painting that just feels like it lives in our collective consciousness, doesn't it?
And it really does.
You know, I mean, part of the permanent collection at MoMA
Yeah.
in New York since 1941.
Yeah.
And, you know, often held up as like his masterpiece, you know, Van Gogh's masterpiece. What more can you say?
And what's interesting, too, is, you know, the story behind its creation. It wasn't like, you know, just some casual, oh, it's a beautiful night, I'm going to paint this. This came out of, you know, June 1889.
Yeah.
And during that time, he was in the asylum voluntarily at the Saint-Paul-de-Mazolle
Yeah.
in Sarmy-de-Provence. And of course, this is after the whole ear incident
Right, right.
of, you know, December 1888. So it's like already you've got this really interesting background.
Exactly, yeah. We're not just dealing with a pretty picture here. We've got layers.
Layers.
We've got perspectives. We've got art, historical analysis. We've even got like a scientific look at these crazy skies.
Yeah.
And then all of that set against, you know, Van Gogh's, you know, life story and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our goal today is to kind of go beyond just, oh, this is what it depicts,
Right.
and get into like his emotional state,
Yeah.
psychological landscape, and try to understand why this thing just continues to resonate
I mean, it's just so powerful.
to this day.
Yeah, yeah. And it, you know, it really speaks to something deep within us, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So to start this whole unpacking, let's just look at Van Gogh, the man.
yeah.
Right. So, I mean, his story, I think, is almost as well known as his paintings, isn't it?
It really is.
This guy, he was born in the Netherlands in 1853, and, you know, his path to art, it wasn't straightforward, you know.
No.
He didn't actually fully embrace painting until he was 26.
Having already tried his hand at like all these different things, he was an art dealer,
Oh, yeah.
a teacher,
Yeah.
even a missionary.
Wow. Yeah.
So, like, really searching for his purpose.
It's fascinating, all the different paths he tried before he landed on this one.
And, I mean, you can see when you look at the sources, like, his life was really marked by this deep emotional instability.
Yeah.
And just this, like, profound loneliness,
Yeah.
you know, and just always this sense of being misunderstood,
Yeah.
you know. So he's carrying that with him.
Absolutely, yeah. But then despite all that, despite the late start, his commitment to art was just, I mean,
Intense. Oh, my gosh.
it was intense.
Yeah, yeah. You look at just the sheer volume of work he produced, you know, between 1880 and his death in
Yeah.
1890. That's just one decade.
Yeah.
And he created over 2,100 works. We're talking about 860 oil paintings
Oh, wow.
in 10 years. I mean,
That's incredible output.
it's staggering.
Yeah. And then, you know, to contrast that,
Yeah,
the fact that he really only sold one painting in his lifetime.
yeah. The Red Vineyard.
Yeah, from 1888. And I mean, he lived with constant financial insecurity, basically relying on his brother.
Oh, yeah. Theo.
Theo's support.
Theo was crucial. I mean, not just financially, but, you know, emotionally, Theo really believed in Vincent.
Yeah.
You can see that, you know, in their letters.
Yeah.
The support was there, yeah.
Absolutely. So let's look at his art, like, chronologically a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So his early works were, I mean, quite different.
Yeah.
They were somber, they were dark.
Very muted palette.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of focus on, like, peasant life.
Yeah.
You know, the potato eaters, for example, from 1885. That's kind of typical of that early period.
Yeah, that's a world away from, like, the bright, almost electric colors we see later on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what changed? Well, his move to Paris in 1886 was a huge turning point.
Yeah.
I mean, Paris was buzzing with these new art movements, right?
Yeah.
Impressionism, post-impressionism. He's rubbing shoulders with Monet, Pissarro, Bernard, Gauguin.
Yeah.
And then he's discovering Japanese prints. And all of this, you know, it explodes his palette.
Yeah.
He starts using these brighter colors. His brushwork becomes more dynamic.
Yeah, it's like Paris was this artistic awakening.
Yeah, exactly.
And then from Paris, of course, he moves down south.
To Arles in Provence,
Yeah.
1888.
Drawn by that light.
Oh, yeah. He wanted that intense southern light and those vibrant colors.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we get some of his most iconic work. Sunflowers, the bedroom at Arles, Cafe Terrace at night. I mean, this period was so fertile for him.
And this is where he starts to dream of, like, an art community.
Oh, yeah.
Like a colony in Arles.
He wanted to bring artists together,
Yeah.
create something special.
Which, you know, we all know doesn't quite work out as planned.
Well, especially when Gauguin enters the picture.
Yeah.
You know, that was That was a volatile partnership.
Yeah, it was intense. It leads to, of course, that whole ear incident, and then...
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which ultimately leads him to voluntarily admit himself to the asylum.
Yeah.
Said May 1889. And, I mean, as tragic as all of that is, it's also during this period, of immense distress that he produces some of his most powerful work.
Yeah.
Including The Starry Night.
Yeah. And, of course, tragically, his struggles continue, and he takes his own life.
July 1890.
At 37.
Yeah, so young.
So young. So, that's the heavy backdrop, the heavy context for this painting that we all know and love.
Right, right.
So let's get into The Starry Night itself.
Okay, Phil.
We know it's June 1889. He's at the asylum. What is he actually painting? What are we looking at?
Okay, so primarily it's the view from his window.
Okay.
East-facing window at the asylum.
Right.
And it's what he would have seen before sunrise.
Okay.
But, and this is important, it wasn't painted at night, outside.
Right, right.
Asylum rules wouldn't allow that.
Yeah.
So it's based on his memory, his imagination, and these daytime sketches he would make.
Okay, so he's like synthesizing it in his head. Yeah.
And he actually worked on it in a studio downstairs at the asylum, not like up in his room by the window.
Okay, so it's this mix of direct observation, but then filtered through his mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the key, I think.
And we know from the sources that he returned to this specific view quite a lot, right?
Yeah, like an obsession almost.
Yeah.
At least 21 different studies and paintings.
Wow.
And it's like he couldn't paint at night from the window, but he could sketch during the day in his room.
Right.
And those sketches became like the springboard for all these different versions he was making.
Okay. And was there like a common thread? Like, did these all have something in common?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
One thing you see over and over is this diagonal line of the Alpills Hills
Okay.
in the distance.
Yeah.
It's there in Wheatfield with cypresses, and of course it's there in the Starry Night, too.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's like playing with the perspective a little bit.
Right.
Bringing the foreground closer.
Exactly. The field, the cypress trees, they're coming right at you.
Yeah. Now, within all of these views, the Starry Night is unique, right?
Absolutely. It's the only one that's specifically a night scene.
Okay, so he's got all these daytimes and then this one night.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, those stars, I mean, they're the thing, right?
Oh, yeah. They just jump off the canvas.
Swirling, luminous. Are those based on what he actually saw?
It's interesting because for the most part, yeah. Like he talks about seeing the morning star, which we now know is Venus.
Right.
And he even says in his letters that it looked enormous.
Right.
And, if you look at the astronomical records,
Yeah.
Venus was actually super bright near its peak brightness in Provence
Yeah.
in the spring of 1889. So it lines up.
So that brightest star to the right of the cypress tree?
Yeah, that's probably Venus.
That's probably Venus. That's amazing.
Yeah, so you're seeing what Van Gogh saw.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What about the moon? It's this like intense crescent.
The moon is a bit more artistic interpretation
Okay.
because astronomically the moon was actually in a waning gibbous phase,
Right.
which means it would have been much fuller.
Okay, so not that thin crescent.
Right. So he saw the moon, but he chose to depict it this way.
Yeah.
Maybe to make it brighter or to fit with that whole swirling energy of the sky.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the village? Down there, peaceful, under the sky.
Okay, so the village wasn't actually visible from his window.
Oh, okay.
It was probably based on a sketch he did,
Yeah.
like from a hillside overlooking Saramie.
Okay.
And what's interesting is the church steeple, it looks more Dutch
Yeah.
than Provençal.
Okay.
So it might be like nostalgia creeping in,
Oh, interesting.
longing for a simpler time, a sense of home.
That makes sense.
Yeah, given everything he was going through.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's, again, mixing observation with memory, with emotion.
Yeah, it's all intertwined.
Now, what did he think of the Starry Night? Like, what were his own words about it?
It's funny because, in letters and stuff, he's pretty low-key about it.
Really?
Yeah, like to Theo in June of '89, he just calls it a study of the night.
Study of the night, that's all.
Yeah, and then he mentions it again in September, listing works to send to Paris.
Hmm.
And, what's even weirder is, in a letter to Émile Bernard,
Yeah.
later that year, he actually says he considers it a failure.
A failure. Wow. Why?
Well, it seems like it's tied to these debates he was having
Okay.
with Bernard and Gauguin
Yeah.
about, painting from nature versus painting from imagination.
Okay, yeah.
Gauguin was all about abstractions,
Yeah.
And Van Gogh, he was wrestling with that.
Yeah.
He felt like maybe he went too far with the imagination, like those two big stars.
Right.
He calls it a delirium.
Oh, wow.
Like he failed somehow. So you see this like inner conflict
Yeah.
about his own art.
Fascinating. Okay, let's get into the painting itself, the visuals. I mean, the sky, it's everything, right?
It's like 2/3 of the canvas,
Yeah.
right? Just this huge dramatic expanse.
Yeah.
And it's so dynamic, so expressive.
Yeah.
Deep blues, indigo, white, yellow. And the way it swirls is just incredible.
Yeah, and those brushstrokes, you can just see the movement.
Oh, yeah. It's thick paint, impasto, curved, energetic strokes.
Yeah.
You feel the motion, the energy.
Yeah.
Some people say it's cosmic energy, or maybe even Van Gogh's own mental state, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And the stars themselves, they're not just little dots, right?
No, they're these pulsating orbs.
Yeah.
Yellow and white, huge, bright, and those halos around them.
Yeah.
The moon up there, that crescent.
Yeah.
It's almost like another sun shining so intensely.
It's so active. The whole sky feels alive.
Right. It's like a dreamscape almost.
Now, let's talk about the cypress tree on the left there. So prominent.
Oh, yeah, rising up like a dark flame,
Yeah.
connecting earth and sky.
Yeah.
And the cypress tree, is loaded with symbolism.
Yeah.
Traditionally, it's linked to death, cemeteries, but also eternal life, ascension.
So for Van Gogh, I mean, could be a lot of things.
Could be his struggles, could be the link between earthly and spiritual, maybe even foreshadowing his death.
Right.
And it's so stark against that quiet village below.
Yeah. Which is, we were saying, painted in much darker tones.
Yeah, it's tucked away under
Yeah.
the sky, just a few little windows with yellow light.
Yeah.
And we think it's based on those memories of Dutch villages, right?
Yeah.
Maybe representing that lost peace he was looking for,
Yeah.
that sense of belonging. And then the church spire.
Yeah.
It's tall in the village, but it looks so tiny
Yeah.
compared to the sky and the cypress. It's like nature's power dwarfing human efforts.
It really is. Okay, so the composition, it's very deliberate.
Oh.
Even though it's so emotional, it's very structured.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's talk technique style. I mean, those brush strokes, so characteristic of him.
Yeah, those broad, expressive strokes, that's classic post-impressionism.
Yeah.
And then the colors, the vibrancy, deep blues, bright yellows, dark greens, they create this tension.
Yeah.
You can almost feel it vibrating off the canvas.
It's so energetic.
Yeah, each stroke is like its own little movement.
Yeah.
And the impasto, the thick paint,
Yeah.
it gives it that texture, almost 3D.
You can practically feel it.
Yeah, you can.
Uh-huh.
And the way he applies the paint,
Yeah.
it's so deliberate,
Yeah.
Sometimes right from the tube, thick layers.
Yeah.
You see the marks of the brush, the palette knife, and the strokes, they follow the forms,
Yeah.
curved in the sky, vertical in the cypress, horizontal in the village. It's like he's giving each element its own rhythm.
Yeah. It's masterful. Okay, let's talk symbolism, interpretation. I mean, this painting, it just invites so many readings.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a Rorschach test.
Yeah.
One of the most common interpretations is, it's a self-portrait.
Yeah.
The sky,
Yeah.
it's his mental state, his turmoil, the depression, the instability,
Right.
and the way everything's moving, breathing. It's like his own inner world is reflected in nature.
Yeah, that makes sense. The church, we talked about the Dutch connection, but
No, it could be spiritual longing,
yeah,
that search for something beyond his suffering.
yeah,
And then the stars, Van Gogh himself said they were hope, consolation.
right.
He even wrote, "Sometimes I think the night is even more richly colored than the day."
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and so poignant given his struggles.
Yeah. But that turbulence, that swirling in the sky, it's hard not to see that as his inner struggle too, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It could be that battle with mental illness,
Yeah.
the chaos of his thoughts and emotions. And then the cypress, it's that duality, death,
Yeah.
mourning, but also resilience, reaching for the infinite.
Right.
Kind of like Van Gogh himself, rooted in suffering, but striving for something more.
It's like this ongoing conversation in the painting.
Yeah.
Earthly versus celestial, human versus divine.
Yeah, like that.
Like the stars are hope, maybe even divine presence. And then the village is that longing for peace, connection,
Yeah.
which he was lacking in his life.
And some art historians, like Boymay, they even see the cypress as like a symbol of Van Gogh's own artistic striving,
Oh, interesting.
like reaching for the infinite through his art.
Okay, yeah. And then you have others who see that link between heaven and earth
Yeah.
in the cypress.
Like Girard Wasiutinski, he called them natural and rustic obelisks,
Ah, like that.
bridging the gap.
Yeah.
But then, Lovegren reminds us the cypress is also traditionally the tree of death
Right.
in Mediterranean culture.
So many layers.
So many layers of meaning. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's the question of external influences too, right?
Right, right. Like those swirling patterns in the sky.
Yeah.
Some people say it's the influence of Japanese prints,
Oh, interesting.
which Van Gogh loved,
Yeah.
bold compositions, expressive lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's even been talk of like astronomical influences.
Yeah.
Like Halley's Comet was visible in 1835.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is when Theo, his brother, was born.
Yeah.
So maybe that stuck with him.
It's possible, yeah.
Those swirls have really captured people's imaginations, haven't they?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Shapiro, the art historian, he saw it as like a pure expression of emotion, painted under this intense pressure of feeling.
Yeah.
He called it a visionary painting, inspired by a religious state of mind.
Wow. And he even thought there might be, like, hidden references to the Book of Revelation.
Yeah, like subconsciously woven in.
Wow.
And Lovegren, he agreed about the visionary aspect.
Yeah.
He said it was conceived in great agitation, and it's filled with this religiously inclined longing for the beyond. He even compares it to Walt Whitman's poetry.
Interesting.
And he talks about it as symbolizing the artist's final absorption by the cosmos.
Wow.
Like being on the threshold of eternity.
That's heavy.
Yeah. And he also brings up Joseph's dream of 11 stars from Genesis.
So there's definitely this religious thread running through a lot of the interpretations.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So Bellum, he even suggested there might be like disguised traditional religious themes.
Yeah, like the blue and yellow being Christ.
Okay.
Referencing Delacroix's color theories.
Yeah.
And the crescent moon as consolation.
Wow.
Yeah, and then Boyer, he comes at it from a slightly different angle.
Yeah.
He thinks he sees not just Venus, but the constellation Aries, too.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a mix of real topography and symbolic celestial stuff.
Okay.
And he also points out that Van Gogh was into Victor Hugo, Jules Verne.
Oh, yeah.
And their ideas about the afterlife.
Interesting. So those ideas might be feeding into it.
Right. And Boyer also brings up the fact that, in the late 19th century, astronomy was making huge strides.
Yeah.
There were all these illustrated publications, like Camille Flammarion's books, showing spiral nebulae, which we now know are galaxies.
Right.
And Boyer thinks that central swirl in the Starry Night might be a galaxy.
Oh.
Or even a comet,
Yeah.
Showing Van Gogh was aware of these things. He thinks the village and the swirls are the only non-realistic parts.
Okay.
And the swirls represent like a dynamic, living cosmos.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and he's not the only one who sees a galaxy there.
Oh, right. What was it, Whitney?
Yeah. Charles Whitney, an astronomer, he independently arrived at the same conclusion.
Wow.
About the spiral galaxy.
Yeah.
And he thinks maybe Van Gogh got the idea from illustrations in William Parsons' work.
Yeah.
Which were also in Flammarion's books.
Okay, so he might have seen these images.
Right. And Whitney also suggests the swirls could be the Mistral wind.
Oh, right.
Which is a big deal in Provence.
Yeah.
And those brighter blues above the horizon, he thinks that's the early dawn light.
So it's this amazing blend of observation, imagination, and maybe even the subconscious scientific awareness.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It is. It's like his emotional state is somehow in tune with the laws of nature.
Yeah, it's really something. But it's important to note, not everyone agrees with this whole scientific angle.
Oh, right. Like Pick Vance.
Yeah, he thought it was much more abstract,
Yeah.
like an arbitrary collage.
Yeah.
He even questioned if the cypress tree would have even been visible from the window.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe it's just symbolic, not really meant to be literally there.
Okay, so more of a symbolic landscape than a realistic one.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, we can't ignore the whole mental health aspect.
Right. Like, how much did that play into the painting?
Yeah.
Well, Naifi and Smith, the biographers,
Yeah.
they explored this idea of temporal lobe epilepsy.
Oh, okay.
Or some latent form of epilepsy.
Yeah.
And they describe his seizures as like fires of electrical impulses in the brain.
Wow.
And they think that during these seizures, or even in periods of what they call increased reality, his imagination just took over.
Yeah.
Broke down his normal defenses.
Right.
And that's how we get this unique sky.
Okay.
And Van Gogh himself, he did say it was an exaggeration from the point of view of arrangement.
Yeah.
Although people debate what he meant by that.
Right, like was it the composition or the colors or the tilth?
Exactly. But it's fascinating to think about, like, how his neurology might have shaped what he painted.
Yeah, that link between inner and outer worlds is so powerful.
Absolutely. And then, to top it all off, you have this recent scientific analysis.
Oh, right, the swirl.
Yeah, they found that the 14 main swirls,
Yeah.
they follow a mathematical pattern,
Okay.
a power law, that's super similar to Kolmogorov's law,
Yeah.
which describes turbulence in fluids.
So he's capturing something real.
Yeah, it means he intuitively understood how fluids move,
Yeah.
like without even knowing the science.
It's mind-blowing.
It is. It's like his emotional intensity was somehow connected to these fundamental laws of nature.
It gives me chills. It's so amazing. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, I mean, we can't deny the impact this painting has had.
Oh, I mean, it's an icon, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's inspired so many artists.
Generations of artists.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Almost like a precursor to abstract expressionism.
Yeah, yeah.
With that focus on raw emotion, expressive brushwork.
And that's what gets me. It's a real place,
Yeah.
but it's so full of emotion.
It's that fusion, right?
Yeah.
Reality and feeling. And his technique, the colors, the strokes, they opened up new possibilities for artists.
Yeah.
People like Munch, de Kooning, they were all influenced by him.
It's this testament to how beauty can come from chaos.
Yeah.
How light can exist in darkness.
And I mean, think about it. People still flock to MoMA just to see this painting.
Yeah, it's still pulling people in.
Yeah. And his ability to capture those raw human emotions.
Yeah.
That's his legacy, you know. It changed art.
It did. It's one of the most recognizable, most reproduced paintings in the world.
Yeah. And it speaks to his genius, you know.
Yeah.
His tormented genius, but his unique vision.
It's enduring.
It is. It's enduring.
It speaks across time, you know? It makes us think about the universe, the human soul.
And that scientific discovery about the turbulence, it just adds another layer.
It's like there's more to uncover.
Yeah, always something more.
So to sum up The Starry Night, it's so much more than just a picture of the night sky.
Right.
It's Vincent van Gogh pouring his heart out
Yeah.
during this incredibly difficult time.
Yeah.
It's not just what he saw, but how he felt.
It's filtered through his experience.
Yeah, it's observation, memory, emotion.
All mixed together.
Yeah. And it's so powerful because of his technique, the symbolism, and maybe even, you know, subconsciously,
Yeah.
that connection to the laws of nature.
It's like he tapped into something deeper.
And that's what I think is so amazing. So to leave you with a thought,
Okay.
we've seen this amazing blend in The Starry Night
Yeah.
of Van Gogh's inner turmoil, and then this almost scientific rendering of turbulence.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder what other works of art out there might have these hidden insights into that connection between how we see the world and how the world actually works.
Like, what if we looked at all art through this lens?
Exactly.
What would we discover?
It's a fascinating thought to end on, so thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time
Yeah. See you next time.
on The Deep Dive.
On the Deep Dive.